It was a sunny Thursday afternoon in early June 2024 in the manicured subdivision of Willow Creek Estates, just outside Tampa, Florida. Marcus Reed, a 46-year-old cybersecurity consultant and motorcycle enthusiast, was at home preparing for a crucial meeting. Marcus had lived in the neighborhood for 5 years, keeping mostly to himself but well known for his gleaming black Harley-Davidson Softail parked in his driveway. The bike, a 2018 model he'd customized himself, was his pride and joy, a symbol of freedom earned through years of hard work. That day, Marcus was expecting a visit from Assistant State Attorney Vanessa Torres, who had requested a private consultation at his home. Marcus had been assisting the state's cybercrime division on a high-profile case involving a data breach that compromised sensitive government records. His expertise in digital forensics had made him a key asset, and Torres was coming to discuss classified details about an upcoming indictment. Marcus had cleared his schedule, set up his home office with secure laptops, and ensured his phone was on silent to avoid interruptions. Around 2:30 p.m., as Marcus was reviewing case notes, he heard a commotion outside. He glanced out his living room window and saw 16-year-old Ethan Miller, the son of his neighbor Karen Miller, standing in his driveway. Ethan, a lanky teen with a reputation for pushing boundaries, was circling Marcus's Harley, running his hands along the chrome handlebars. Karen, the HOA vice president, was known in Willow Creek for her strict enforcement of community rules, everything from lawn heights to mailbox colors. Her son, however, often acted as if those rules didn't apply to him. Marcus stepped outside, his tone calm but firm. "Hey, Ethan, what's up? You know you can't touch the bike." Ethan smirked, leaning against the Harley. "Man, this thing's sweet. You should let me take it for a spin. I look good on it." Marcus shook his head, keeping his composure. "Not happening, kid. It's not a toy, and you don't have a license. Go on home." Ethan's smirk faded, replaced by a scowl. "You don't get to tell me what to do. My mom runs this place." The exchange caught the attention of Karen, who was pruning her roses across the street. She dropped her shears and marched over, her face set in a familiar look of indignation. "What's going on here?" she demanded, glaring at Marcus. Ethan jumped in before Marcus could respond. "He's being a jerk, Mom. I just want to check out his bike, and he's acting like I'm some criminal." Marcus raised an eyebrow but stayed calm. "Karen, your son was touching my property without permission. I asked him to stop." "That's it." Karen's eyes narrowed. "You don't talk to my son like that, Marcus. You think you're above everyone with that loud motorcycle, breaking HOA rules. I've had enough of it." Marcus sighed, aware of Karen's ongoing complaints about his Harley, which he claimed violated the HOA's noise and parking regulations, though he'd proven it complied with city ordinances. "Karen, let's not do this. I have a meeting soon. Tell Ethan to stay off my property and we're good." But Karen wasn't backing down. She pulled out her phone, her voice rising. "I'm calling the police. You can't threaten my son." Marcus, baffled, held up his hands. "No one's threatening anyone. I just asked him to leave my bike alone." Ethan, emboldened by his mother's reaction, taunted, "Yeah, call the cops, Mom. Let's see how tough he is." Marcus shook his head and went back inside, knowing he had to prepare for Torres' arrival. He assumed Karen was bluffing, as she often did when neighbors didn't bend to her demands. At 2:45 p.m., Vanessa Torres pulled into Marcus's driveway in an unmarked sedan. She was a 38-year-old prosecutor with no-nonsense reputation, dressed in a sharp blazer and carrying a locked briefcase. Marcus greeted her at the door, and they settled into his home office, where he'd set up a secure video feed to connect with other members of the cybercrime task force. The meeting was critical. Marcus was presenting evidence linking the data breach to a known cybercriminal syndicate, and Torres needed his analysis to finalize charges. Outside, Karen was on the phone with the Tampa Police Department, her voice loud enough to carry across the street. "Yes, officer, I need someone out here now. My son was harassed by a neighbor, and I think he's dangerous. He's got a motorcycle, probably involved in something illegal." She gave Marcus's address and hung up, satisfied, as Ethan lingered nearby, smirking. Inside, Marcus and Torres were deep in discussion, reviewing encrypted files on Marcus's laptop. He walked her through a chain of digital transactions that traced the breach to offshore servers. Torres nodded, taking notes, her focus intense. "This is solid, Marcus," she said. "With your testimony, we can move forward next week." Marcus leaned back, relieved. "Good. I've been up nights pulling this together. Let's nail these guys." At 3:02 p.m., a Tampa PD cruiser pulled into Willow Creek Estates, lights off but clearly responding to a call. Officers Leasing Gwynn and David Carter stepped out, their radios crackling as they approached Marcus's house. Karen hurried over, Ethan trailing behind. "Officers, thank you for coming," she said, pointing at Marcus's driveway. "That man threatened my son over his motorcycle. I want him dealt with." Gwynn, a seasoned officer with a knack for de-escalating, listened as Karen recounted her version of events, heavily skewed to paint Marcus as aggressive. Ethan chimed in, claiming Marcus had yelled at him and acted like he was going to do something. Carter, jotting notes, asked, "Did he physically threaten you or touch you?" Ethan hesitated and mumbled, "Not exactly, but he was mad." Gwynn exchanged a glance with Carter, sensing the call might be more about a neighbor dispute than a real threat. The officers approached Marcus's door and knocked. Inside, Marcus and Torres were wrapping up their discussion when the sound interrupted them. Marcus frowned, glancing at a security camera feed, which showed the officers and Karen standing outside. "You've got to be kidding me," he muttered. Torres raised an eyebrow. "Problem?" Marcus sighed. "Just a nosy neighbor. Give me a second." He opened the door, greeting the officers politely. "Afternoon, officers. What's this about?" Gwynn explained. "We got a call about a disturbance involving a teenager and a motorcycle. Can you tell us your side?" Marcus, keeping his cool, recounted the incident with Ethan, emphasizing that he'd only asked the boy to stop touching his bike. "I didn't threaten anyone. I'm in the middle of a meeting right now, so I'd appreciate if we could clear this up quickly." Karen, standing a few feet away, interjected, "He's lying. He's always causing trouble with that bike, and now he's targeting my son." Torres, overhearing from inside, stepped into the doorway, her presence commanding attention. "Excuse me," she said, her voice calm but authoritative. "I'm Assistant State Attorney Vanessa Torres. Mr. Reed is assisting me with a state investigation. What exactly is the issue here?" The officer straightened, recognizing Torres's name and title. Nguyen's demeanor shifted to one of respect. "Ma'am, we're responding to a complaint about a verbal altercation. We're just gathering facts." Torres nodded, turning to Marcus. "Mr. Reed, do you want to press charges for trespassing or harassment?" Marcus shook his head. "No, I just want them to leave my property alone." Karen's face reddened, her confidence faltering. "You can't just... My son didn't do anything wrong," she sputtered. Ethan, suddenly quiet, shifted uncomfortably. Carter, sensing the situation was overblown, addressed Karen. "Ma'am, based on what we've heard, there's no evidence of a threat. Your son was on his property, without permission. I suggest you both head home." Torres, stepping forward, added, "Officer, for clarity, Mr. Reed is a key consultant on a sensitive case. His work is critical to the state, and I prefer he not be distracted by frivolous complaints." Her tone was polite, but carried an unmistakable weight. Gwynn nodded. "Understood, ma'am. We'll wrap this up." The officers turned to Karen, advising her to refrain from further calls unless there was a legitimate issue. Karen, flustered, grabbed Ethan's arm and stormed off, muttering about the HOA board. The officers apologized to Marcus and Torres for the interruption and left, noting in their report that the call appeared to be a misunderstanding. Back inside, Marcus and Torres resumed their meeting, though Marcus couldn't help but chuckle. "Never thought I'd have to deal with an HOA spat in the middle of a state case," he said. Torres smiled. "You'd be surprised how often this job gets sidetracked by petty disputes. Good work keeping your cool." News of the incident spread through Willow Creek Estates like wildfire. Neighbors, many of whom had clashed with Karen's HOA overreach, were amused to learn she called the police only to be rebuffed by the state attorney's presence. At the next HOA meeting, Karen's attempt to push for stricter motorcycle rules was met with laughter and dismissed. Ethan, embarrassed, steered clear of Marcus's driveway from then on. Marcus, unfazed, continued his work with the state, his Harley still gleaming in the driveway. The community, meanwhile, gained a new respect for the quiet consultant who'd handled a ridiculous situation with grace, and had the state attorney to back him up.